Hello everyone. So just on a different tangent because I have recorded a video where we discuss the 5 steps to build the enterprise strategy. Because most of the organization in the 21st century, they are struggling to build the data platforms or landscape, and there are many factors which are contributing into the complexity and the challenges which the modern organization are facing, beside all the technologies and the capabilities which are available compared to the previous eras. Uh, there's still there's still gaps in implementing the enterprise strategy or building the enterprise strategy. Even the you can build the data strategy, but it's really hard to implement that strategy within the organization. And there are challenges which are not related to the technology or capability. It's more like, the process that we want to build to execute our strategy. So, and that's why I actually recorded my first video in which I discussed on a very high level how we can build an enterprise strategy, and not only build, how we can implement the enterprise strategy into the modern organization. So I divided it into 5 logical steps that anyone can use to build a really good data strategy. And I think once you follow these steps, you will see a clear roadmap that you can use to build that strategy that turn your organization into the data-driven organization. Because at the end, what all we need to build an enterprise that can use data to drive its business, or to drive its strategy, and even drive its vision. So if you manage to achieve that, that's it. That's your goal. And trust me, it's still a vision, or it's still a dream. And it's not because that we don't have the capabilities, considering we have the best technologies in place, we have the best talent in the market. It's more like the process that we need to address, that how we can improve or build the processes that can help us to utilize these technology and talent to their full potential, and then implement the strategy accordingly. So let's start our journey with the first step, which is, like I mentioned previously, before even you think of building any data strategy, the very first step we need to do is to identify what is happening. And actually, by saying it, what does it mean about what is happening, what you're gonna do into this phase. So let me quickly share with you a slide which can show you that how we can complete that phase. What are the activities which are required as part of what is happening phase. Bear with me, I just need to find out. Yeah, let me just stop sharing. Perfect. So what I'm going to do, let me just explain. So like you can see, we have the first slide, the step one, which are showing you that what are the actions we normally take. And these are some of the action that will just give you a good idea that how can you go and how can you execute step one. Really depends upon the environment of the enterprise that you are working on, or on the business that you are in, and you want to build the data strategy within that business. The very first thing, you need to thoroughly investigate that what are the data I said. Okay, before even that, finding what is happening, why it is important, because before you build any data strategy for an organization, it's always best to find out, okay, what is happening at the moment, what is available, what had been developed in the past. So it will give you the idea about the whole dynamics of the data platform within the organization. Because if you go without analyzing it, it might be a possibility that you end up in a completely wrong side. You build something which is not aligned with the business strategy, or maybe you build something which is too hard for business to adopt and or adapt. In both cases, business is going to show resistance, although maybe your strategy or your solution has been accepted on the management level. But trust me, once it comes to the departmental level, or the or the lower level, people show a lot of resistance, towards those strategies which are not helping them to do their work easily. So that's the first rule, that always build a strategy that can make people life easy, so they can do their work more efficiently, more effective. Your strategy, whatever you are building for the enterprise, make sure it is benefiting each and every person on each hierarchy, on the organizational structure. Otherwise, you might not gain the full benefits of your strategy. In order to do it, the very first step, you need to find out what is happening, and what is happening stage is divided into some of these steps that I have actually mentioned in here. It really depends. Once we start investigating, once we go deeper, we can start, documenting the assets and our finding during our investigation phase. Then we actually find out more and more of these boxes. But in this video, I'm just going to discuss all these boxes, which are almost 12, and you can add more if you want to. It really depends upon the scenario to scenario. The very first thing, we need to carefully investigate what are the data. I said, how many software applications are running within the enterprises, uh, whether these applications are active or inactive or partially active. You will be surprised, sometimes they say, or it's a journal saying within the business environment, yeah, we have the application and we are using it, but then the question is, are you fully utilizing that application to get the maximum benefit out of it, or it's more like just providing you maybe 40%, 50%, 60%, or maybe 10 or 20% benefit back to your business? Because implementing a software and utilizing to benefit the business are two different things. If you are implementing an application which users are finding so hard to use, or to adapt with, I believe that's not going to help your business at all. Because then what's going to happen, users going to actually go around it and going to find the alternate ways that can make their life easy. Because imagine a person only has 6 to 8 hour commitment with the business. Some employees, they go and they spend more time to complete their work. But if they find whatever the new solution you are proposing or you are implementing gonna increase their timing, or gonna increase their workload, they're not gonna actually support your vision or your strategy. So make sure that whatever applications are there, whether they are fully utilized, because that will tell you the consumption of the application, or the acceptance level of the application. I think that's the right word, the acceptance level of the application. We have three kind of applications. Some applications which are completely inactive, and they're obviously these application, whatever data is associated, that is just sitting there providing no value to the business. Because maybe people who build it for good, now they leave the organization, and now that asset is sitting there and nobody has any idea and nobody can extract any value out of it. And the organization only have two options: either they can rebuild the whole application through a new solution, spend the money, or just hire someone, or try to get something by paying some external consultants so who can come in and make it useful. Some application, they are partially active, like I mentioned, maybe you are getting just 40% of that application. But imagine if you spend, for example, $1 million to implement that solution, and you're only getting the benefit of 400,000 for about that 600,000 that you have already spent, and you believe that there's going to benefit. And don't get me wrong, many organizations are suffering into these challenges these days. And some application, they are fully active, like they are providing their full capabilities, so that is the indicator that okay, that application has been built by including the stakeholder, by the business, and the whoever actually part of this project or solution, they get the full buy-in from the business. So that's why the business actually accept it open-heartedly. Third, very important stage, are these data assets connected? There are integration within the application, or these are just, like the isolated application, independent application, which are running into different department, and, departments are controlling the application, and there is no connectivity. If even the application wants to talk to each other, they are unable to talk. For example, payroll have their own system, and I can understand payroll have their own privacy because there is sensitive data sitting there. Finance has their own system, but we must have an integration, because obviously payroll needs the information from the HR system. It's not like HR is running its own system, payroll is running its own system. We are entering data into two different solutions just because these systems are not talking. So that will really help you to put the improvement in your data strategy. Last in the row one, which is very important, are these solution putting any value into the enterprise strategic vision? Because all the enterprises, all the businesses, they have vision. Every year they revise their vision, they revise their strategy. All these data assets, are they contributing into that enterprise strategic vision, or they're just like just sitting there, and the enterprise vision is now completely different than what we have into those applications, or these applications are now outdated, so it cannot provide a contribution into the modern demands generated by the market, or by the new strategic vision of the enterprise. Okay, now the next thing, a very important thing that's going to play a very important role into our strategy, is the data governance. And data governance, like I mentioned, and you can go and check my article on the data governance, where I have actually discussed the framework, that how much data governance contribute into any enterprise in terms of achieving its strategic vision. So the next question you're going to ask, find out as part of what is happening, that do we have the data governance functional in the organization or not? Do we have a proper data governance committee, and all the major stakeholder of the enterprise, are they part of that data governance committee? Are we meeting to discuss the challenges we are seeing day by day due to different kind of data which is coming and landing into our enterprise data portal, or all other kind of issue that might be some departments are facing and some are not facing. And maybe like I mentioned, for example, is there any difference in terms of generating the information between different departments? So all these sort of questions, is there any data privacy concern or any data security concern? Do we have the data quality check in place? So all these things, it normally covers under the data governance functional. Is the data available to the right people within the acceptable time, a very important thing. And you won't believe how much people spend or waste their time once they need some information which is just scattered here and there, and nobody knows that, okay, maybe it is, but dumped somewhere in the Excel file or network shared drive or somewhere, and that's all craziness which is now currently happening just because of lack of proper data governance functionality in the organization. Then obviously data governance is very tightly coupled with the data owners, because obviously if we have the data governance committee, that means that we're going to have the data owners who comes on the panel, and they provide their requirement, they generate their concern. So in other words, they actually take the ownership. So for example, if we know there are challenges with the finance data, we know we can actually raise it with the CFO, if and he or she can go back and make sure the whatever the challenges or whatever the concern has been raised in front of him or her, that can be addressed through a proper process improvement. So you can see how the ownership is going back into the stakeholder who are part of the data governance committee. Do we have auditing process in place for data assets? So for example, if there are issues with one data asset and it has been addressed in the data governance committee, how long it took to resolve that issue, what are the implication, how what are the blockers, why we haven't resolved it early, what are the challenges during the resolution phase, and can we assure that this is not going to happen again, what are the proper matrices or monitoring system that we can put in place to make sure the processes are aligned within the direction or the terms given by the data governance committee. All these things, obviously we need a very strong auditing process that can assure that whatever data governance committee is uh, not dictating, is suggesting, those rules or those suggestions should be implemented. Otherwise just gonna be a waste of time of everyone and energy as well, if we are not implementing those recommendations which are coming from the data governance committee. And last, in this row, do we have the data quality framework? Because data quality is one of the biggest challenge in the modern era, because on one side we have so much data, we have so much advancement in the technology, but in the dark side, that is posing lots and lots of challenges to medium to small enterprises. Don't get me wrong, not everyone has a budget as of Google, Oracle, Microsoft, Apple, or Facebook. These enterprises, they have millions, or even some of them have billions of dollars of budget to spend to make sure their infrastructures are right, their processes are up to the mark, and they can put all that money into their processes to always be on a plus, to assure their customer that their whatever practices they are following are the golden practices. But not all the organization have a similar organizational structure, similar processes, especially with the average enterprises. They are struggling because they have limited budget, they have limited resources, and within these limited budgets and resources, they need to make sure that they are keeping their standard to not exactly the same, but at least close to the standard where all these joints are standing in the market, because that obviously improve their reputation, that improve their revenue, that improve their business, and that improve their credibility within the market if they follow these principles. Imagine how good it is if all your stakeholder, they believe that whatever data you are providing to them are correct and complete. There is no issue. The data is trustable, and they can close their eyes and they can make decision on that data. So think about it, and that obviously require a very strong data quality framework and practices in place. In the third area, I'm going to discuss another key area which is really important in step one while you're investigating that what is happening as part of implementing your or building your enterprise data strategy. Does our technology stack align with the enterprise data need? Trust me that right now, many organizations, they are now struggling with the outdated technology because they didn't get a chance to update. They are so used to with the current flow of the business that nobody get a time to, to go and upgrade the technology and making sure it is addressing the modern needs of the organization. Now imagine if you want to advance your business and you are hearing with all these buzzwords that, okay, the big data is now coming into the market. We have the machine learning technologies available. We have the artificial intelligence available in the market. But if you don't have the right infrastructure in place, if you don't have the right tools and technology, how are you gonna align, these business strategic plan where they are thinking, okay, let's use the big data technology and see what can we get for our business, to move from current stage to next level, and how we can gain the competitive advantage over our competitor by using the data. So you can see that how heavily it is depending upon the technology. If you don't have the capability of storing the big data set into your organization, if you don't have, for example, the data lake, if you don't have, the latest tools that can support these big data set, or that can use to manipulate or extract the right information out of these big data set, how are you going to achieve it? So that's a very, very important point, that whether your technology stack or the infrastructure align with your enterprise data need. If it is not, and obviously even if it is, there is always a room of improvement. What is your technology roadmap for data analytics? Like how you gonna implement, or how you gonna move on and implement the right technology stack so it can align with your enterprise data needs. So we obviously need a proper roadmap which give us a path that, okay, these are the stages that we're going to actually follow to implement the new technology stack that will address all these big data capabilities which are needed for the business, a new business strategic vision. Okay, next one, what has been used for presenting data to the business. With all these things, if you don't have a right tools or right practices to present the data back to the C-level executives or board of directors, or or the presidents of the company, everything is going to be useless, because all these top level exec and board members, they are not tech savvy. They don't have time to dig deeper and scratch the Excel file, scratch the reports, or read 50-60 pages of document. They need something smart. They can only spend some time to see these stories, that, okay, what is happening, and based on their vision, how the organization is doing, and whether it's going to achieve that vision or not. So everything that can help them achieve that is only they are interested in. If they feel that whatever you are giving to them is distracting them, is immediately going to be useless for them. That's a very blunt fact that you need to keep in mind. Whatever you are building, whatever you are presenting, it should be aligned with the business strategic vision, so it can buy in from the execs or board of member. And obviously, the presentation layer play a very critical role in that sense. So if you are in the leadership capacity, make sure your dashboards are well built and well equipped, so it can fulfill those needs. They are not all the exits, they are not going to be interested into the details. What are the 1 million or 1 billion records that you have used to generate their analytic? All they need to know that, okay, show me the trend. Where are my profits? Where are the challenges? What are the risks I need to address in the business? How our customers are doing, what are the feedbacks, how we are going with the customer targets, all these, what are the sale targets, what are the new channels that we can use to improve, so to our improve our business. Now you can see that what they are looking, and we need to build the dashboard or the capabilities that can address those requirements. So that's something I'm going to actually discuss in one of the steps, which is, I believe, step 3, investigation, because that comes into, because these questions, now that is the modern enterprise data strategy. It's not like you are building an end-to-end solution, which is part of the strategy, but now you need to address the question, and these questions are coming from the exec or the board of member who are providing you you the strategic initiative, and you need to make sure whatever you are building from your strategy perspective, that is contributing directly into that vision. Again, last but not the least, what is the agreement between IT and data team? So now that's another important thing that you need to find out, because that will contribute significantly into your enterprise data strategy development work, and what it actually means, because there are two areas that these in the data and analytics. One is technical and one is obviously business oriented, which has less technical. So and let me put this way, one is engineering, and which overlap with the technology. Sometimes we have the IT and we have the data personals who work together to build something that can help business, right? So is there any strong agreement between, or strong relationship established between these team? Is your data team well equipped, and is there a proper process in place for your data team to understand the strategy, data strategy, and deliver accordingly? Or is your data team is disconnected? You are thinking something completely separate, and your team is completely disconnected from your view, and they are just doing day-to-day work without knowing what is the strategy and how it is linked with the company view. And same is technology teams are on board, especially the IT. One thing I have actually found a lot, that you cannot execute the strategy until unless you have a very close and good relationship with your IT, because at the end, especially in the last row, once you go and you asked to implement the technology for you, it's your IT team, IT department, who's going to make sure, if you're implementing something in the cloud, they need to make sure the services are configured properly, they are properly integrated, they have been checked with the compliance from the security perspective. Cyber security is on board to making sure the accounts are right, there is no data breach and no data leak of the solution that is going to be implemented in the business. So you can see there is a full team that is working, and the collaboration is very strong. So just find out, is there a collaboration in place, or it is just broken or disconnected? And you will be surprised most of the time there are gaps between IT and the data, and it's just like the nature because both team have their own priorities and both team has different nature of work. But what you need to do in that case, and we'll discuss it once we reach to that, but that you need to actually build that bond to make sure that these teams are working together to turn these data strategy into realization. So hope you enjoy the first step, and it clarify a lot of things to you in terms of how the first step, which is finding what is happening works and contributing into your enterprise data strategy journey. Feel free to ask any question if you have. Put your comments in under this video. I'm more than happy to answer. Otherwise, I'm gonna see you in the next video once we discuss what is the success for your data strategy. So stay tuned for it. Thanks for watching.